PNC Bank has been brilliantly boring, so you can be happily fulfilled, which is pretty unboring.
Yeah. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to XCOM Enemy Within campaign run. Okay, we're just doing a simple campaign run here before we get into the mods and the long war and everything else. So I remember playing and passing this back in the days because I scored it back in the days. 2013, I think it was. So it's been about a decade or so now. It's been out. So let's see.
People need to replace their windows or patio doors, but they put it off because they think it'll be too expensive. Hi, I'm
normal.
I'm here with Michael Smith from Renewal by Anderson.
Tutorial.
Really
Free experience in tutorial.
Find affordable solutions.
Okay, second wave. Let's see.
One of the largest window manufacturers in North America.
High stakes I like.
We usually offer our customers larger discounts and better financing than smaller companies or contractors.
Other window companies don't offer your same window and door installation method.
Our installers have installed thousands of windows. Our windows are manufactured to precisely fit your specific window openings. Being custom built also means if you have any beautiful trim that you'd like to keep, we can often install your windows without impacting that trim. You won't get this with most vinyl windows.
And you offer a free window and patio.
I'm not sure about this one. We'll come back to it.
We'll come to your home and assess your current windows, show you where you might be losing energy, and take measurements. Then we'll leave you with an exact price quote that's good for an
I like this one. The closer you are to flanking, the better aim.
My background is in home remodeling as a carpenter. I've seen every window problem out there. So now I just want to help homeowners make their homes more beautiful and comfortable with the right window.
And your patio doors are really gorgeous.
They are. And they're engineered to easily open and close for years. And with multiple locking points on our patio doors, they provide even greater security.
That is so great to hear, Michael. Thank you.
Before June 30th, buy one window, patio door, or entry door, and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off.
Take trading roulette for something new.
Save an extra.
Save scum for... I save scum a lot. If I lose a guy, etc. Save scum. So this is good. It resets the random number sheet. So different results.
Call 1-800-704-4200. That's 1-800-704-4200.
My hair is thinning all around my hairline.
Dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
My hair is longer, thicker.
Nutrafol is like chicken.
Get going at Nutrafol.com. Only from SimpliSafe, 24/7 micro protection. This exclusive technology allows SimpliSafe agents to help stop crime in real time. Stop. Police are on their way. For instant intruder deterrence and faster police response, there's no safe like SimpliSafe. Music legend Randy Travis testifying on Capitol Hill today.
Maybe not.
Lawmakers to set guardrails for artificial intelligence. Fox Business' Kelly O'Grady, she's got the details on this for us. Kelly, what do the artists, how do they feel about AI? I mean, I think there's a lot of fear, right? This is something that could really impact their livelihood. And I think there's really a big...
We'll take the new economy.
How AI could make the music industry less fair for them. I mean, take Randy Travis as an example, right?
It's okay, we'll let him talk.
A decade ago, which impaired his ability to create music. Last month, he releases a new song using AI to recreate those vocals, and it charted. But that's also a song he
Started up.
creating. So there's a gray area right
Hey Gizmo, how are you?
that leverages an artist's work without consent or even paying for it. Now, Senator
Goodbye.
Marcia Blackburn, she's one of the sponsors of the bill being discussed today. She shared this with Fox Business. She says, we must ensure our songwriters are properly
Goodbye.
and prevent AI models from using artists' work without permission. When companies rip off and profit from our talented software
Goodbye.
musicians, that's called theft. Now, that tension is already playing out. For example, there are 2 AI music startups that are being sued by some of the biggest music labels out there. These sites, they create songs from text prompts that can sound very similar to the most popular music out there, but they don't pay anyone for that use. Now, there are companies that are getting ahead of the hurdles. YouTube is reportedly talking to these labels to license existing
I love you.
for AI. Regardless of their standards right now, this art aggressive companies. I mean, they're pioneers in this. They've got to figure it out as they go on the fly and try to keep making money. So, I mean, this is a pressing issue for them, Kelly. Absolutely, right? And we're all dealing with it, but especially for something so creative, right? It's a very big problem. Exactly. Kelly O'Grady on that for us. Thank you so much. Right?
And again, you got to remember this. Tune in to Fox News Democracy 24, special coverage of the CNN presidential debate simulcast. All coverage begins tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Look at this. A new poll out just today shows most U.S. adults plan to watch some element of Thursday's presidential debate. About 6 in 10 in the U.S. say they're extremely or very likely to watch the debate live or in clips. That is a lot of people. If you think about 330, that's roughly the number, 330 million people in our country. So it should be a big night.
A big deal. It's interesting that the write-up on the polling you just referenced ends with both Biden and Trump supporters view the debate as a major test for their candidate or just a spectacle of nothingness.
Yeah, it'll be that.
I don't know about you, Brett, but I've already started to hear about debate viewing parties.
Oh, yes, a lot of them. Both campaigns are doing them all over the country, and I think a lot of people are just going to get their popcorn ready and maybe a cocktail and watch.
Exactly, and they're already choosing which words they might hear the most to have a sip of their lemonade.
That's right.
Brett, great to be with you. Thanks so much for helping us out again. All right, set your DVR. Never miss America Reports. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Sandra Smith.
And I'm Brett Baer. I will see you tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern for a special report. And the story with Martha starts right now. Great to be with you.
Yeah, and I will be with you guys tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. We'll all be watching every word as that debate plays out in front of millions of people. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this is the story for today. DHS Secretary Mayorkas on the ground in Arizona. He was pressed to answer questions about the recent murders allegedly committed by people here illegally. Also, about the 8 suspected terrorists with ties to ISIS who illegally entered the country and are now in ICE custody. New reporting that the men may have been plotting a possible terrorist attack here on U.S. soil. That's very concerning. Also today, it gets better. DHS sources telling Fox that more than 400 people have been smuggled into the country by ISIS-affiliated networks who work the border over the past several months. DHS Secretary Mayorkas, when he was confronted with that, of all of these pieces of information, he said that's not exactly true.
That reporting is incorrect. We do not have identified 400 people with potential ISIS ties. And let me again assure you that individuals identified to have those ties pose a concern to us from a public safety and security perspective, and they would be priorities for detention and removal.
Paul Morrow spent years working in counterterrorism, but first to correspondent Matt Finn, who was on the ground in Tucson after question of Secretary Mayorkas as that news conference has just wrapped up. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Martha. A short while ago, I asked Secretary Mayorkas about this new information and reporting that at least 400 migrants with potential ISIS ties recently arrived here into the United States. The Secretary took issue with that question. He said it is inaccurate. I asked him if he wanted to dispute the reporting entirely, and he said it is inaccurate. Now, to be clear, I asked him about whether these migrants have potential ISIS ties. The reporting and information might just be that these migrants were brought in through an ISIS-related network. So he may have taken issue with the way I asked the question, but if these migrants are being brought in through an ISIS-related network, it really begs the question if any of these migrants have ISIS-related ties. Now, to be clear, earlier today, DHS confirmed to Fox News that more than 400 people were brought into the U.S. from Eastern Europe and Central Asia via an ISIS-affiliated smuggling network. More than 150 have been arrested. DHS would not confirm how many, if any, were on the terror watch list. There are 50 of those people who are considered at large, but DHS insists they are not a threat. A short while ago here in Tucson, DHS Press Secretary Mayorkas said that President Biden's recent executive orders on immigration has triggered a plummet in illegal immigration encounters at the border.
These actions are changing the calculus for those considering crossing our border. Still, as I will continue to make clear, they are no substitute for congressional action.
Now, in light of all the recent developments, including the homicides here in the United States by illegal migrants, and also this new reporting about potential ISIS ties, migrants arriving here in the United States, I also asked the Secretary if he thinks that the American people are buying that our border is entirely secure. He would not answer that question. He punted that question and said he's answered that before. Martha.
Yeah, a lot of new information since the last time he answered it. Thank you very much. That same good question for the DHS Secretary today. Let's bring in Paul Morrow, retired NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor. He has years of experience working in counterterrorism. He ultimately ran all of the NYPD's intelligence cases. Paul, great to have you with us. So when you watch this news conference and you hear about the men from Tajikistan, you hear about the ISIS affiliates who have sent 400 people across the border, if you were still doing counterintelligence in New York City, what would be concerning?
All right, well, let's try to advance the story a little bit. First question, is ATC part of the 400 that you're talking about? Because as he tries to put an ISIS in the 400, you can see how he's wordsmithing it, right? Yeah. He's saying, well, you know, they're not necessarily ISIS-tied, etc. This is that terrorist groups need money. There is a profit motive embedded in it. It's like the mafia. They have to make money, but they do it for their operations, not for profit motive, right? So it's possible that ISIS is just doing some human trafficking here. But think about this now. We have 8 guys who were loose in this country. And here's the nuance. They are being held currently on immigration charges, not on terrorism charges. Now, they picked up something on a wire relative to bombs. I don't know if that's a FISA wire overseas or something, or if it was a domestic wire relative to something criminal. But it was 3 different field officers, 3 FBI field officers. They had to prematurely say, take them on what we got. Take them on immigration and get them in. We'll see if we can get into the phones. We'll see if we can do a debrief. We'll flip somebody. But that, right now, they don't have terrorism charges, which means they had to take them prematurely. That's an indicator of how much trouble they thought this was, because you don't want to do that, but it gets to be too hard to cover and you can't risk it. And that also indicates to you the pressure that the federal government, who are doing their job, is under here. Now, we hit the FBI leadership here plenty. That's the people inside the Beltway. But I can tell you, the FBI agents and these field officers, I've done this stuff with them. They're up all hours of the night. Those guys don't make a lot of money. They're not making overtime. They're men and women up all hours, chasing people around, monitoring wires, trying to prevent something from going boom. And ultimately, they had to pull the plug prematurely.
Well, we thank them for those efforts. And they work extraordinarily hard because they want to keep people safe. As you say, the motivation is not money. The motivation is not having another 9/11 or any similar incident here in the United States. This is Mike Morrell, the former CIA director, who wrote a piece on the red flags and blinking lights that he sees going on everywhere. Here's what he had to say about the feedback he got when he put that out there.
Keep your eyes open.
I ran into a lot of current intelligence officers and current policymakers after we published the article. The response was almost universal, and we're glad you wrote this. It's really important. I read that as maybe there's a lack of a sense of urgency here.
Okay, so he's speaking carefully, but what really jumps out at the end of that is that he is warning the administration there is a lack of a sense of urgency. And you heard Mayorkas say, oh, the safety and security of the American people is our top priority. Now that's what we're all about. Basically, but we should be concerned. Is that all?
Let's remember something about Mayorkas. He set the tone for his discourse with this nation very early, right? In 2021, he came out and swore to the factually untrue canard that Border Patrol was whipping Haitian migrants as they came over the nation. Into the nation. As the New York Post reported, Mayorkas knew at the time it wasn't true. He thinks his own people are supporting him now. I know not everything about law enforcement, but I know enough to know when you branch your agency. As far as the article goes, now full disclosure, one of these, it's a two articles. He was my professor up at Harvard. He's a brilliant guy. You might have some issues with Morrell because he was the one who drove the 51 and said this was a fake laptop, it was a Russian operation, etc. But that said, I can tell you, some experience with these are people who have spent their lives examining this stuff a little differently. I think that was a subtle shot across the bow to tell the Biden administration, border, wake up. This border thing is not working. They didn't say that in the article. I read it, but I think that's what really is going on.
Yeah, and here's someone who said it more directly. This came out today from the Special Operations Association of America. They sent out an open letter. These are former SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers, who, as an association, want to make their concerns known based on their own history of all of the work that they do in this area. So they said they're surrounded by developments in the Middle East, i.e. Hamas, Black Seas, and the poorest unsecured southern we've seen numerous instances of individuals on terror watch lists and others from adversarial countries attempt to enter the United States, and those are the ones we know about because only they were detected. They only detected 665.
Yeah, two things real quick. First of all, there are a lot of soft assets potentially here if you're looking to do an outside-in attack because you have all of these kids that are doing the Gaza stuff on the campuses, etc. And whether they're witting or not, they could be an assist to you. But let's not remember when the rubber hits the road here. Look at all the crime. We're already getting hit. They're essentially bioweapons. They're sending us their worst of their worst, coming into this country. Every day we wake up to a new Biden border monster. You know, I don't talk about it too much. I have a website, opsdesk.org, where we track all of the migrant crime. I have people working with me. We can't keep up. It's underway now. And to me, that's a form of terrorism.
Oh, thank you. What's the name of it?
Opsdesk.org, and we're tracking the migrant crime to the extent that you can.
And then what do you do with that information?
Hopefully people see it and act upon it. You know, I'm just one guy.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omar. Always good to have you with us. So I had this hour story exclusive with entrepreneur and activist Paris Holton, who is on a continuing crusade to advocate on behalf of abused children, particularly in facilities like the one that she was in at the age of 16.
When I was 16 years old, I was ripped from my bed in the middle of the night and transported across state lines to the first of 4 youth residential treatment facilities. These programs promised healing, growth, and support, but instead did not allow me to speak, move freely, or even look out a window for 2 years. I was force-fed medications and sexually abused by the staff. I was violently restrained and dragged down hallways, stripped naked, and thrown into solitary confinement.
This soldier will now carry a rocket launcher.
To me, Harlem is home. But home is your I asked myself, why does it call it Harlem? So, given that we can walk in New York is not easy, Chase Pink has supported us. When you start small, some big help, and he thinks with that.
This is my business decisions. The Chase Inc. business cash card, Chase for business. Make more from what's yours.
My daughter's Mila. She is 19 months old. She is a little ray of sunshine. One of the happiest babies you'll probably ever meet. Children with Down syndrome typically have a higher risk for developing acute leukemia or just leukemia in general. Here we are.
Scope and grenades really important in this game.
Children's Research Hospital works day after day to find cures.
Scope more so. I use more the scope than grenades.
She preferred to thank you at 11 months. They knew what to do as soon as they got her diagnosis. Treatment plan drawn out, and they were like, "This is what we're going to do. This is how long it's going to take. This is how long in between." This place is like family. Like, I can't say enough how grateful we are to be here. Medical bills are always a big thing to everybody because everybody knows that anything medical is going to be expensive. We have received no bills since being at St. Jude. We have paid for nothing.
Thanks to generous donors like you, families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live. For just $19 a month, you'll help us continue the life-saving research and treatment that these kids need now and in the future. Join with your credit or debit card right now, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt that you can proudly wear and show your support.
Anybody and everybody that contributes anything to this place, no matter if it's a big business or just the grandmother that donates, once a month, they are changing people's lives.
One of my favorite outfits with the purple and the yellow. It looks dope. Get a few other outfits that are dope too.
And faces off against Donald Trump. We have a preview you won't get from the media mob tonight.
Touching down.
Tutorial number 2. There's 3. One for Mel too.
Before you move out, let's see what's inside that building. Your squad mate is closer, so let him check it out.
That's affirmative.
Another sunny day by the water.
Now open the
Friends, fun, and maybe a few drinks. We all know to keep our roads free of impaired drivers. And that means our lakes and waterways too.
Now I want a man on
Impaired
the roof
boating
of that
is
building.
impaired driving.
See if you can find a
Thank
way
you
up
to
there.
all the responsible boaters who are doing their part, and to those that keep an eye out, just in case. Here's to more sunny days. Enjoy the summer on safer roads and waterways. Arrive alive. Drive sober.
Rolling out.
Just be the day the Baldurs killed my family. Left me death and you. The vision is simple. Make the Baldurs pay for their done.
I recognize that the law allows Facebook, Twitter, and other private companies to moderate content on their platforms, and I support the right of governments to communicate with the public, including to dispute inaccurate information. But government officials have been caught repeatedly pushing social media platforms to censor disfavored users and content. Often these acts of censorship threaten the legal protection social media companies need to exist, Section 230.
Tactical advice is needed.
So Supreme Court striking down today a lower court ruling that found the Biden White House and other federal agencies likely violated the First Amendment by pressuring social media companies to censor or remove posts and accounts they didn't agree with. Stanford Medical School professor Dr. Jay Bhattacharya was part of that lawsuit and learned via the Twitter files that Matt Taibbi and others put out there that his account had been slapped with a, quote, trends blacklist label for daring to counter Dr. Fauci and others about what he saw as harmful COVID-era lockdowns. Dr. Bhattacharya joins me now. It's been great to have you with us today, Doctor. And, we all followed very closely your prescriptions during COVID, which were very different than the lockdowns that were instituted all around us. And you sought to get your Great Barrington Proclamation out there and the information that you had about the harmful effects of all these lockdowns. And then you got slammed with this trends blacklist that took you down. What is your reaction to this decision by the Supreme Court today, which was not in your favor, clearly?
Yeah, so we lost 6-3. The reasoning that the Supreme Court used was that we lack standing. That's a very, very important reasoning, set of reasoning, because what it says is that in order for the First Amendment to work, you have to prove that the government went to the social media companies and said, censor J. What it allows then the government to do is to go to the social media companies and say, censor the people saying that closing schools harm children. Censor people that say that there is immunity after COVID recovery. Censor people that say that there are people that were vaccine injured, right? And then the government can just say do that, so they can threaten the social media companies. And apparently the Supreme Court thinks that that is consistent with the American First Amendment. Essentially, in effect, the First Amendment is a dead letter because the Supreme Court has said that there's no one who has standing unless they're specifically called out to stop them from violating the First Amendment via proxies, that is via the social media companies.
So Thomas, Alito, and Gorsuch were among the dissent, and the majority opinion was written by Justice Amy Coney Barrett, and she says what you just said. The plaintiffs rely on allegations of past government censorship as evidence that future censorship is likely, but they fail by and large to link their past social restrictions to the defendant's communications and platforms. I understand, that you disagree with that, and I would just remind everybody about the Twitter back and forth. We can put some of these up, but with the government,
excellent. I love snipers. This game's time for
We're
Shadow.
concerned about these. We'd like you to take them down. And then the response was, handled. So this weekly meetings that we heard about. What are your concerns about this decision? And do you think it can be rectified in the future?
So the government essentially acted like mob bosses. That's exactly what the appeals court said. They likened it to Al Capone, threatening the social media company's very existence if they didn't comply with the censorship orders. They were not acting voluntarily. They were acting under duress by government. The government essentially acted to protect itself from valid criticism about its own misinformation. And it did it silently behind the screen scenes. The dissent in this was actually quite sensible. Essentially what it says is it's a green light for the government to censor. And the government will take it that way because there's no standing for people to sue and say, look, you're not allowed to censor. The First Amendment no longer has a viable presence in the courts of this nation under this ruling. And if you can't use past violations of the First Amendment as evidence of potential future violations, what could you use? It doesn't make any sense. The reasoning of the court here makes literally no sense. It's saying, like, look, they did censor me in the past, but who knows if they will in the future. And we shouldn't enjoin them from essentially abiding by the First Amendment in the future. It's a very disheartening day for this country.
Yeah, you wrote a lot of your thoughts on COVID in the Wall Street Journal and other places, and people got to read them. But when they found their way onto Twitter and other social media accounts, they were slapped with this label. And Dr. Fauci says, "Show me a school that I shut down. I never told a school to shut down." And now we see the just continuing damage on our children across this country as a result of these actions, which I know we're very much against. Doctor, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Final thought?
I mean, if we had the First Amendment, we would have better policy. The First Amendment protects the health of Americans. It's a sad day that we don't have that in this country right now.
Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, thank you very much. Great to have you with us today, sir. So former President Trump heads into tomorrow's big presidential debate with a burst of momentum over President Biden in 5 of the 7 battleground states. Even polling guru Nate Silver predicts the race is no longer a toss-up, he says. Our political panel weighs in next.
Most likely, I think we have a lot of people coming. There's a lot of interest, tremendous interest in the debate.
Introducing Allison's Black Psoriasis. She thinks her flaky gray patches are all people see.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat black psoriasis. Otezla can help you get clear skin and reduce itching and flaking with no routine blood test required. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for over a decade. Otezla is also approved to treat psoriatic arthritis. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Some people taking Otezla have depression, suicidal thoughts, or labels. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur.
With clear skin, Girls' Day Out is a good day out. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla.
For years, I've been sharing how Crepe Erase has helped my skin look smoother, firmer, and younger. And now the system I've loved for almost a decade is even better.
Now you can transform your skin from this to this with new Crepe Erase Ultra. Crepe Erase really works. That's why real women have given it thousands of rave reviews. It's the celebrity secret to younger and sexier looking skin.
Crepe Erase Ultra has taken years off my skin. The results have been magnificent.
And now, new and improved Crepe Erase Ultra is our best system ever.
It's clinically shown to instantly improve the look of dry, crepey skin.
Crepe Erase Ultra is something I recommend to my patients because it works.
And now there's more big news from Crepe Erase.
Introducing the Ultra Smoothing Neck Repair, an all-new breakthrough solution for the hard-to-treat skin on your neck. With age-defying results you have to see to believe. And you can get it today as a free gift with your order.
I mean, this might literally be the fountain review for the neck. The results are incredible.
Today, you can get the new Crepe Erase Ultra system for only $49.95. And we'll give you the Ultra Smoothing Neck Repair for free.
And we'll also give you this customer favorite, the luxurious 4-in-1 line smoothing capsules for your face. Breathe.
That little capsule is a power pack.
And to make this our best offer ever, when you order today, we're going to double your free gift of $76 value.
There's never been a better time to try Crepe Erase. Get all this, a $143 value for only $49.95, plus free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee.
If you're seeing the signs of crepey skin, don't wait. Now you can do something about it, and your results are guaranteed or your money back.
This is a limited time offer that will not last.
Call 1-800-915-8121 or go to CrepeEraseUltra.com. Order right now.
Some people like doing things the hard way, like doing their finances with a spreadsheet instead of using Quicken. Quicken pulls all your financial info together in one place and updates it automatically. How easy is that?
Hi, I'm Donna, and I love taking balance of nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing honor.
Get 50% off your first set when you use discount code Fox News.
Very exciting. Here we go, folks, into the home stretch to tomorrow night's CNN presidential debate. President Biden is said to be hunkering down with a coaching team of familiar faces at Camp David, getting ready. There are some of the folks who are helping him do that, while former President Trump heads into tomorrow with a new advantage with some new polling over Biden in 5 out of 7 battleground states. Ahead in Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, tied in Pennsylvania, according to the Washington Post polling averages. Let's bring in Kimberly Strassel, Wall Street Journal opinion columnist and a Fox News contributor, and David Carlucci, former Democratic New York State Senator. Great to have both of you with us. We also can share that most Americans, plurality of Americans, say that they plan to watch tomorrow night. Kimberly, you look at these new polls that just came out, and also the fact that Nate Silver, is saying that the presidential race is no longer a toss-up, but of course, I guess that could change after tomorrow night.
Yeah, and don't just look at these polls, Martha. Look at the ones from 4 years ago, which is what I think really matters. If you look back then, Biden was leading in 6 out of those 7 states. Not by a lot, but he was certainly leading, and those leads grew as time went on. And we instead see a very different dynamic. Now things are completely switched. Donald Trump is far ahead of where Joe Biden was at this time 4 years ago. Now, that's obviously a function of the president and his fairly dismal track record and the dissatisfaction of Americans out there. But we've also seen some poll tightening just recently, too, which is also a warning to Republicans that this is not necessarily a cakewalk, and a reminder that incumbents still do have a lot of advantages when it comes to re-elections.
Indeed. There is President Biden on the right-hand side of your screen right now, said to be getting ready with a lot of policy experts and people that he's working with. You know, David, as you look to tomorrow night, what do you think is the most important job for him? Where does he have to land tomorrow? Location confirmed.
Well, I think you're right. This debate matters than most debates usually do, because, we always watch it, political pundits, we love this stuff, but you're going to have more people tune in for the first time in this campaign. The Pew Research poll, they say that only 4 out of 10 Americans, or 4 out of 10 Americans are not paying attention. So this is drawing new eyeballs. So I think it's really about the style as opposed to the substance. And that's unusual. I usually wouldn't say that. But in this case, it's about performance. It's about, is Biden capable of doing the job? And I know he is on a policy point of view, but I think the American people want to see that he's physically capable and keeping up with Donald Trump. We know Donald Trump's going to throw some zingers, try to get him rattled. So if he can deliver, stay calm, cool, and collected, that's what's going to matter most in this debate tomorrow.
Kimberly, what are you looking for tomorrow night?
Well, I'm going to look to see, and I think this is what a lot of Republicans are watching to see, those in the political realm, whether or not Donald Trump remembers that this is not a campaign rally, because those people are already all for him. Rather, this is about getting those unconvinced voters to come to his side. And for all those poll numbers you just showed, they're not necessarily as strong as they could be or should be for President Trump, given just how high Joe Biden's disapproval rating is. And that suggests that Donald Trump, he needs to rebuild some confidence among, in particular, suburban and moderate Republican voters, those who went for Haley during the primary, also potential crossover voters who are really unhappy with Biden but still aren't sure they entirely trust Donald Trump. The question is, does he get pulled and baited into where Joe Biden wants him to go, which is conversations about stolen elections in January 6th, and things that make him look unhinged, or whether or not he does what he needs to do, which is make this a referendum on Joe Biden's track record and performance.
Yeah, so David, so what happens if Trump does that? If he pivots when the January 6th issues come up and he says, look, you know what? That was then and this is now. I'm looking towards the future. If you guys want to dwell on that, that's fine. But I want to talk about what's happening in the future and the American voter.
It'll be surprising to see that, right? We've watched some of the rallies that Donald Trump has been doing, and he'll rip for an hour, 2 hours, but he's talking about conspiracy theories. He's talking about shark attacks. He's talking about everything.
But David, let me just interject for a moment, because it seems like that's the one we see at the rallies, but then we see different versions of we saw him on Capitol Hill talking about regulations and taxes, and you saw him on the All In podcast, talking about China and Ukraine and all of these things. So don't you think he gets that tomorrow night is about
fucking 9 days?
Oh yeah, it's very clear. All he has to do is make amends, go to the middle, talk about policies you're going to do for the future, talk about how you're going to win over independents, moderates, try to reach across that aisle. All Donald Trump has done for the past year is play to his base. He's gone hyperspeed. Every time he says crooked Joe Biden, I mean, what is he gaining there? Nothing. And that's the good thing we have. The blessing in Donald Trump, he's the gift that keeps giving. We talk about Joe Biden being a gaffe machine. Donald Trump is eating his own words all the time, but he's not called on the map. So we'll see him under the microscope tomorrow night.
We will. We'll see them both under the microscope. Truly, I gotta go. But you said the vice presidential pick may be in the room. Who's your pick?
I don't know. I mean, I know, look, one of the best ideas would be a Nikki Haley or, for instance, a Glenn Youngkin, someone who can appeal to those moderate voters.
From what we hear, they're not in the short list, but you never know. Maybe the former president has a surprise up his sleeve, so we will see. David Carlucci, Kim Strauss, great to have you both here. Thank you so much.
And how do you suggest?
So an angel mom whose only son was murdered by a known gang member who was in the country illegally. A violent migrant crime, including the heinous murder of 12-year-old Jocelyn Manzari, and why she says, this angel mom says, that the Biden administration has blood on their hands where these deaths are concerned.
How can we hope to stop something that we do not understand? If we can capture one of these creatures alive.
Liberty Mutual cut my car insurance, and I saved hundreds. With all the money I saved, I thought I'd buy stunts. Being so tall definitely has its advantages.
Yes.
You guys get up?
Thanks. In my opinion. I can construct
Hey, ready to go?
Yep. There it is. There. I guess it also has some disadvantages. Yes, it does.
All right.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more. That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at TED.com.
Once completed.
In the military, you're really close with your sister that are in the military with you. And when you get out of the military, you kind of lose that until you find a new thing. We can talk about it.
In order to have
And the things that we did overseas. And not everybody can do that. I don't know. How's it going, brother? We live pretty close to each other, so he's always coming out. When I go to Jack's house, we watch a lot of football, hang out, we go outside. The friendship is kind of grown into a I was overseas on a deployment. I got separated from my Marines, and I got hit in the neck
broke my neck and paralyzed me. 14 years ago, I was on a training mission, did a military free fall, and I had some faulty equipment. I hit the ground going 30 or 40 knots, and was instantly paralyzed.
I met Jack Finney when he invited us to Park City, Utah through his foundation. I was able to actually get on the mountain and ski with my family. I can't put into words what that meant.
I got paid in the military to be brave and fun stuff. And after my accident, I'm still that same guy. I just jumped out of the helicopter at 10,000 feet.
I was talking to some vets last week. It's amazing how he had these houses where they can come over because they're in pairs too. Militaries don't mix very well. Tunnels, towers,
they redid my whole bathroom. That's far as
I thought they were just going to do the upgrades, but the surprise to me was they paid off the entire mortgage.
When they told me they were going to pay off my mortgage, I cried. Please contribute $11 a month by visiting TV.
Gonna save it coming up.
It's Pain o'clock, let's do this!
Sorry, Pain. I can't let you in.
I've been staying employed with Mr. Dubin for years. Unexpected?
Not anymore. Mr. Dubin's been taking Relief Factor.
Relief Factor!
Keep pain away for good with Relief Factor, a natural supplement that takes a different approach to pain relief. It doesn't mask pain, it builds up your body's response to inflammation so pain won't get in. Call or go online today and live your best life without pain.
We have eyes on the bandit.
At Biz2 Credit, we know running a business takes everything you have, and only a certain kind of leader has what it takes. Every new challenge is yours to solve, and there's no such thing as off the clock. You carry the weight of the problems, but your resolve never wavers. No one else can do what you do. We know your drive. We know your determination.
Barely.
You've come far enough to know success.
That's the fucking tutorial on that? Holy shit. We barely made it.
What's next?
Solid copy, Voodoo 37. Nice work. Central out. All right, people. Retest Recon Satellite Bravo and get me a visual on that crash.
Can I ask you quickly about the 12-year-old girl in Houston that was tortured?
Strangers, I don't even know who you are, and I don't know who she is. I'm gonna mentor her.
Okay, but there was a child who was killed at the... You don't know about the child that was killed by illegal immigrants?
So that's Hillary Vaughn pressing Democrat lawmakers on Capitol Hill about the murder of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nogare. The suspects, both here in the United States illegally. The funeral services for this young girl will be held tomorrow. Angel mom Agnes Gibney's son, Ronald, was killed by a man also here in the U.S. illegally. And she says that 22 years later, her pain lives on. First to correspondent Nate Foy in Houston. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Martha. At this point in Houston, Texas, the arraignments are over. Bail has been set for each of the illegal migrant suspects at $10 million. And the next part in this horrific grieving process is laying 12-year-old Jocelyn Nogare to rest. Her funeral starts tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, her family will be there. Houston Mayor John Whitmire will attend, while Texas Senator Ted Cruz posted on X, quote, America is grieving with the family of Jocelyn.
Let's save it here.
Jocelyn should be here with us today. We are all lifting up her family in our prayers. Jocelyn's mother, Alexis, attended the arraignments for both illegal migrants charged with murdering her daughter. She called them monsters and said they ripped Jocelyn away from her. She also said this on Hannity last night.
We have to stop burying our kids. It's not right. We have to have more reinforcement when it comes to letting people in. This is not okay. It's not okay.
Prosecutors say 26-year-old Franklin Pena admitted to kissing